Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tennis Weekly with Joel, Kim, and Chris. On today's tour catch-up,
Draper returns as Great Britain thump Norway.
Raducanu reaches first final since US Open triumph.
And Jannik Sinner trades tennis for train tickets at the Winter Olympics.
Kim, Chris, today is the 9th of February, and we are here to catch up on the week in tennis at Tennis Weekly HQ. On today's episode, we're going to be getting into all of the Davis Cup action with Chris on hand in Oslo for Norway versus Great Britain as Jack Draper returned to the tennis court. It was a bumper week for the Brits, with Katie Boulter also winning the title in Ostrava, and Emma Raducanu, coachless Emma Raducanu, I might add, making her first final on the tour since the US Open in 2021 in Cluj. We've got the return of Par for the Courts and the mailbag, an extended mailbag in the second half, so do look out for that. We're also going to be looking at all the action from the first WTA 1000 event of the season in Doha, maybe making some predictions as well. There have been some results from today, some retirements as well, which we're going to be getting into in the second half too. But guys, I've mentioned the fact that it has been a great week for the Brits. Boulter, Raducanu, but Great Britain, but the big result, Jack Pennington-Jones has qualified in Dallas.
Woo!
Your
I'm so
fave,
thrilled
Kim.
for him.
JPJ.
Yeah,
JPJ.
It's very catchy. For listeners who don't know who he is a young British player who, well, he was featured in the main draw at Wimbledon last year.
He caught your heart, Kim, I feel.
Well, I don't know about my heart, but I think he had a great match. He got a win, I think, in the first round. Can't remember who that was against now, but yeah, it's nice to see him qualify for an ATP event on the main tour. So
Kim,
fingers crossed.
Kim, what is it with players, your fascination with players that have three parts to their name?
Well, just rolls off the tongue quite nicely, doesn't it? Jessica
enjoy
Bouzas Monero, you know.
Pablo Carreño Busta.
Yeah, exactly. But whereas Jack Pennington-Jones is not Spanish, but he has gone double-barreled.
Could you say it with a bit of Spanish flair, Kim? It's quite hard to...
Pennington-Jones.
Oh, love that.
That's going to be very niche and only for our pod, I imagine.
I know, but I mean, there's plenty to talk through results-wise, featuring quite a lot of Brits actually today, but we've just wanted to get Jack Pennington-Jones in there. And actually, Chris, one of your favourites has done pretty well. We didn't mention this last week because obviously we were catching up on all things AO final and Carlos Alcaraz, etc. But Bianca Andreescu has been on a bit of a winning run, hasn't she, of late, picking up another ITF title last week.
This was the real news story on Sunday of men's final at the Australian Open.
Well, I was banned from talking about it. You know, we're not allowed to kind of bring these things in. I think it would be an odd lead for, Djokovic versus Alcaraz.
We've got to give the people what they want, Chris.
We do. We might lose a few people along the way, but Bianca doing very well. Remember, cast your mind back when she first was kind of making waves on the tour. She did start at some of the lower ITF events before she built up to some really big success when she was very young. So could be the start of something big once again. And she is only 25, which is a bit mad when you think about it, because, I mean, she won so long ago.
Yeah, I think of her as much older, but she was so young when she won that US Open title. So there's still time to make her mark again. Because, I mean, even if she was older tennis players are doing quite well at the moment. We've had Sorana Castell win a WTA title last week. Obviously, Djokovic just got to another Grand Slam final. Stan, the man, did well at AO. I mean, Zvonareva has qualified for Doha as well. So all sorts of things happening. Manarino as well, reaching a final last week. So age is no barrier. I think those five players are proving it at the moment. But yeah, we'll be getting onto the action very shortly, won't we?
We will indeed. And for those of you who kind of maybe listen to our Australian Open coverage and this is your first tour catch-up that you've joined us for, I mean, welcome. What we do in these episodes is we cover all of the action from the tour. That's the WTA, ATP, as well as ITF when it comes to the Davis Cup or the Billie Jean King Cup. And then we have a bit more fun in the second half where we have a quiz, par for the courts that we play on a regular basis, where Joel, you tend to take more of the role as quizmaster.
Quizmaster. It's because I'm just too scared So am I cowering as the quizmaster, so I don't have to give answers?
He's quite a friendly quizmaster, listeners. So if you do make it that far, then do test yourself against us and see how you do. And then we have a mailbag as well in the second half and talking points. So pay attention. You will be able to email us and you can ask us a question later on, but also give your opinions and let us know on social media.
Yeah, and we normally start off with just what kind of has caught our attention this past week on the tour or off the tour. It can be anything from the world of tennis. So I wanted to start with you, Joel. What has floated your boat this past week?
Well, it is the Winter Olympics that has caught my eye. And I don't know if you both saw this. Jannik Sinner has been snapped checking train tickets.
Like a paparazzi snap.
Yeah, exactly.
Should he have been doing this? Was this planned?
Was he pretending to be a ticket inspector?
I think it was planned. I think it was a kind of a promotional campaign from Nike because it was for an all orange train called the All Conditions Express, which was kind of custom painted for a journey from Milan on the 5th of February. But yes, passengers were greeted by Jannik Sinner checking the train tickets as they boarded. I quite liked actually his hair sort of matched the paint job of the train, and he had his little like clicker thing to stamp the paper ticket. Yeah, the little puncher. It was very old school.
I wonder what fines they're giving out if people didn't have their
is he going to do the dirty work? He can't just like allow everyone on. He needs to go and check if everyone's got the right tickets and issue the fines as well. He can't just do the pleasantries.
Well, did he know what he was punching is also my question. Or was it just, smile, take the ticket, move on? I can't imagine he'd be the one denying you kind of access to the All Conditions Express. Surely that has to welcome all. Is
this like his like method in getting over the loss to Novak Djokovic at the semi-finals? It's like, I'm going to go jump into another profession for the time being, take my mind off tennis and punch some tickets.
Yeah, to touch grass, or in this case, touch snow and punch tickets, to get himself back grounded ahead of the rest of the season.
I mean, he does come from a skiing background, so I think he'd be quite delighted to help out. His home country are hosting the Winter Olympics, so I think it's pretty cool that he's done this. And it reminds me of years ago when Roger Federer was I don't know, like involved in the Fed Express, that tram around Basel that was all kind of branded.
Oh yes, very good.
Roger Federer.
Very good knowledge, Kim.
I know, yeah.
Well, you couldn't call it the Sinner Express, could you? Because I mean, that might not be taking you to a very good location by the end of it.
But no, I like to see tennis players in other locations like that getting their hands dirty. Chris, what about yourself? What's caught your eye on the tour?
Well, I've got my eye on this Serena Williams comeback. Is it really happening? And we got an update from one of the most unlikely places. It was actually a question that was posed, I believe. It was at Ostrava, where Alycia Parks was playing, and someone asked her about, Serena, and she said, well, I actually practiced with her last Monday. So, I mean, that's big news. I did not know she was practicing with, active top 100 players. And she said if the 44-year-old does decide to return, she's in great shape, so she can kill it on the tour. So, I mean, I think that sounds like a comeback. What do you guys make of that?
I mean, you're not practicing with a WTA tour level player just for fun.
That's not garden tennis, is it?
No. Well, maybe it is for Serena Williams.
Maybe she just needs someone good to practice with. Otherwise, it's not fun for her just to play, against her kids, which we often see her playing with. But it definitely has got me more excited. I think I was a little bit on the fence as to whether really she was going to do it or if she knew more about it. But it seems like it is picking up a bit of momentum, Kim. And would you like to see her back this year?
I mean, I would never say no to a Serena comeback. I don't know if she maybe is just testing the waters, though. Do you think she's like trying to do what she can to keep in touching distance, and then she'll maybe make the final decision in a bit? But isn't she can't come back before June?
I think it would be around about then. I think it would maybe be April, but maybe when she drafts in Sabalenka to practice in the back garden, that's when she's really serious.
She's serious, yeah. I mean, we'd love to see it. What a talking point. Venus is still going. Why shouldn't Serena? I mean, in other news, slightly more recent, I suppose, current on the tour. I don't know if you both saw, I'm sure you did, that Katie Boulter won the Ostrava Open, which is fantastic for her to get another title and get her ranking back up there again. But there was a really cute fan, which I loved to see at the arena with a big sign asking to be Katie and Alex de Minaur's ring bearer in their upcoming wedding. I don't know if this fan was, British or Australian, or if he was Czech and just a fan of both of them, but it was very cute. And she signed the poster for him and phoned Alex to show him. So we'll have to wait and see if he's invited to the wedding. I feel like they've probably got their ring bearer sorted already, but if they drop out, maybe they can get in touch with this lad, because he looked super happy to be there supporting Katie and watching her win. But I thought that was very sweet.
That is nice.
Of him.
I was thinking, Kim, you've been trying to figure out where the wedding's going to be held. So is he going to a destination
wedding? I don't think it's in
Ostrava. No.
I think it's in Tuscany.
Is he looking for a holiday?
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Free trip to Tuscany, I wouldn't say no to
Nothing
that.
beats a Jet2 holiday.
Entrepreneurial from a young age is this lad. But yes, very sweet. I feel like it's the wedding photos we're all waiting to see when they do eventually tie the knot. So yeah, watch this space. But we're going to now get into the actual tennis. Let's start with the Davis Cup, actually, before we get into the ATP and WTA action. Because Chris, you were in Oslo over the weekend to see Jack Draper return to the court as Britain faced Norway in the Davis Cup. It was a clean sweep for Britain. It's good for for Team GB, 4 rubbers to 0. Somewhat helped by the fact that Casper Ruud was not playing, but it was exciting, obviously, to see Jack Draper back. First time on a tennis court since the US Open. Well, not on a tennis court, but in an active match since the US Open back in August. So yeah, tell us through your weekend. How did Jack look, and what was the defining feature of the weekend in Oslo?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I'll start with Jack looked great. I watched some of his practice. He actually beat Cam Norrie in a set prior to his return. We're able to watch the practice matches there, and it was very impressive. I think the new serve looked great. I think there's a lot of positives in his game right now, and clearly he's hungry to return. It was great. We got to speak to him multiple times, and he's very much a team player. I think he really likes the environment. I think all the Brits do. So that was a real positive of everything. That the minus 11 degrees was not necessarily the biggest positive, and the wind chill was not included in that. So wear your layers, wear your thermals. I actually wore too many thermals, and when I was interviewing Jack Draper, I turned a very strange red, and I think he was quite concerned because we were right in the...
Was it one of those where could you see your breath like inside the hall?
It was not the warmest, but I'll tell you what, Scandinavia is very good at keeping the heat in, creating cozy atmospheres. So it was in kind of a small sort of sports hall type venue. Mm-hmm. They normally have handball there. So I think they could keep the heat in pretty well. But as soon as you stepped out, you were really quite shocked by, it was a winter wonderland that you exited into. So very nice there. I also think it was a great event. I think it was a shame there was no Casper, obviously. We did find out in very dramatic style. It was just 10 minutes before the draw ceremony. We were told by the Norwegian Tennis Federation, who said they just found out. So I'm not sure you two. We do see this sometimes. If there's a big name, they do like to maybe reveal it a bit late. Obviously, there's a nice reason behind it with the birth of his daughter. But I mean, you do have some sort of... you are able to know that's happening. It doesn't come out of the blue. The baby doesn't just arrive.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we were talking about this from like the Australian Open. I mean, what was the kind of the mood, I guess, like Casper might play to, Casper's not playing. Did that sort of change the atmosphere? Because I feel like, with Norway, their chances basically relied on if Ruud was going to play or not.
They did, and so did the media. Interest relied on if Ruud was playing, especially with the Winter Olympics being on. So I think the vibe didn't shift too much. I think a lot of people wanted like a great spectacle, and I think in Norway, those who had a ticket, they did play like a dead rubber as well, so that they could get a bit more tennis.
I'm not gonna lie, I was worried for you because I was thinking after the doubles when it was done and dusted, I was kind of wondering, will they play the singles? So it's good they got that fourth rubber in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Fernley had a bit of a dead rubber against. Forgive me if I'm saying this wrong. I don't have the correct Norwegian pronunciation. Budkov Kier.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Right. But yeah, you got to see Fernley in action. Norrie,
The
Draper,
doubles, yeah.
Cash and Glasspool obviously getting it done, getting over the line in that final set tiebreak in the doubles to
how
secure the
was
victory.
that so close?
That was very tense, wasn't it? I have to say, Nikolai was fantastic. I think he definitely felt less pressure playing as part of a partnership. I think they had a lot less to lose when you're playing against the number one doubles pair from last year. They were just having fun out there. It was really kind of exhibition tennis from their side because, they had to win it. They went all out for it, and maybe that took a bit out of him for the singles. But a great atmosphere for sure. But the biggest thing about it was obviously the fact that Draper was back, and that was what we all wanted to hear from. We wanted to find out how he felt, how he feels coming back and how he was performing. So we did get to ask those questions, so we can listen to him before his match and then after his match. Jack, it's been a long time out of the game. Mm-hmm. Now you're coming back, and you're coming back playing for your country. A few words about that.
Yeah, I've missed competing. I've missed being out here. I've missed playing in front of a crowd and playing match environments. So very grateful to be here, to be around the boys, and I think it's going to be a really good few days ahead.
You said, I think, in the pre-tournament, pre-tie interview that you learned some things about yourself during the time off. If you feel comfortable sharing, what sort of things did you learn about yourself? And
I think as an individual athlete in the sport, we're always so busy, and sort of to get that taken away from you and have to live life not at 100 miles an hour. You kind of slow down and you reflect on yourself, not only as a player but also as a person. Just reflecting on myself, thinking what I could do to better my life on the court and off the court. I suppose that's what I meant. It's just that time to be clear about my future and change some things for the better.
Did you catch any of the action from Australia? Did you watch any of it?
I didn't, not really. I watched a little bit of the final. It was quite difficult to watch what was going on out there, knowing that I was missing out. But Alcaraz winning, I think he's a great champion and already a legend of the game. And to see him win the career slam was really good to see.
Does it make you hungrier? I was going to say, to get back when you see the guys making history. Do you want to be a part of that?
Of course, yeah, of course. I wouldn't be a competitor if I didn't want that. So I think part of me doesn't want to watch it because I know that it hurts, but at the same time it's good to be able to see what these guys are achieving, so that then I can put that fire, that fuel into a positive place and work hard on the practice court, work hard on my career to get to a good position as well.
And you've been embracing the local culture. I heard that you were the ringleader for going cold bathing. How did that come about, and is that now going to be part of your routine going forward?
I think it's good for your mental health. I think it's good to get in really cold and stress yourself, and it worked well that there was a sauna right next to it as well, because otherwise it would have been a nightmare. Well, we didn't die, none of us died, so that was a good start. But it was really fun. We had a laugh, and there was a lot of worried faces when we were in the water.
And one more question about your serve.
Yeah.
It's been going around online that maybe you've changed part of your serve during the time off.
Yeah.
Can you confirm or deny?
Yeah, it's nothing to confirm. You can see it. When I'm playing, I definitely changed my action on my serve. That's part of what the question was earlier, I guess. What can you reflect on? What can you change? And that was one of the things. Technically, a little bit of a change to help my body be more efficient and to hopefully put less strain through my arm and ultimately have less injuries.
How would you rate your level out there? It's your first match back. You've got to be pretty happy with how that went.
Yeah, I think my level was really good. I was sharp. I think testament to how I've been practicing. I think my opponent came out who was serving really, really high percentages, and I felt just like I was doing my job really well. So I'm proud of that as a first performance back.
And you tried some new things in your game. You learned about some things when it comes to the serve. You also were really quick out there. A lot of people were talking about kind of how speedy you were to get some of those winners. Yeah. Is that something you've particularly been working on as well?
I think I've been working on becoming a better athlete. Definitely, as you get stronger, as you get better, you look naturally faster, maybe because I'm reading the game well. I think I've always been fast when people watch me play, but I'm definitely becoming a better athlete. So hopefully that comes across on the court.
And the serve?
Yeah, the serve feels great. The change I made is to make my serve better and more efficient. And I think if a serve analysis person maybe dissected my serve a little bit now compared to before, it's functionally a lot better. So hopefully the result and the outcome is better too.
And what's it like having like a comeback match at a Davis Cup match? It's obviously a very unique atmosphere, got a lot of home support here. Was that something you really fed off and really enjoyed?
Yeah, it was nice. I think nice to be in an environment where you've got a lot of people, and a lot of friendly faces, a lot of familiar faces who supported me today, but not only today, the last few days, and getting back into that environment before I compete is really nice. And there's a great group of people here, so very lucky to have them, and also all the fans that came to watch me play.
And any notes for yourself after that one, or if you were to rate the performance, how would you rate it?
I just rate it really highly, really strong, and for a first performance back after a long period of time, I'm very happy with that. So hopefully from here on in, I can keep on going, stay on the court, and keep building momentum.
One thing we did also learn, I should say, is that he was actually never supposed to be playing the second singles on the next day. He was never going to play the singles. He was only going to play one match because of the fact that this injury that he has is still very much a thing. So that was a key thing, guys. I don't know if you know this, because I didn't know until he was kind of explaining it, that the nature of like a bone stress injury like this is that you have to build up strength over time and build up the load. If you do too much, you can really set yourself back. So I think that was also what the plan was to get Jack up to play a match, and then maybe it will take a bit longer for him to maybe return to the tour, most likely, I think. And
we've seen him pull out of Rotterdam, haven't we, already? So that would be evidenced by the fact that he's having to do it gradually. But did he indicate that he would be pulling out of Rotterdam, or his next few events, or like when you were speaking to him, was there any indication of that?
Well, the BBC did ask him about what his next, was it a full-on season coming up? And he didn't necessarily commit to that. That was definitely what he was hoping for. But he did say, whilst we were kind of down there interviewing him in the basement of a Norwegian sports hall, the Nadderud Arena, he said, almost in frustration, like when he was explaining the injury, it's hard to explain it when he didn't even understand it himself. So I do really think that we should give him like a lot more patience when it comes to the comeback. And you could want him to play next week, and I'm sure the fans in Rotterdam are disappointed. Jack Draper fans are disappointed. They didn't get to see more of him. But the fact is, like, he's on his own comeback journey, and we've seen it before where he maybe overdid it, and then that's at the detriment to what he could do and what he was able to do towards the end of last season.
I think just listening to him, it has made me realise how much I think the tour has missed a player of his quality, because I think through the Australian Open we were kind of wondering, who are the players who are going to be a threat to Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. And yes, we saw that from Novak Djokovic. Yes, we saw that from Alexander Zverev, even though he didn't get the victory. But there's not many other names you could really, I think, put right up there. And in the past, I think we've seen from Draper, he has the tennis and the potential and the talent, I think, to be a threat, and to add his name back in and be up there, I think would be very, very exciting. I understand that it's kind of small steps, but certainly I think his lack of presence at the Australian Open reminded me of just how starved I think we are on the tour of genuine competition, I think, at the very, very top with Sinner and Alcaraz.
Well, he beat Alcaraz last year, on the way to his first 1,000 title. I think he maybe overdid it in the clay season, probably looking back when it came to the grass season. So maybe that's what he's actually setting realistic targets for, is actually getting match fit for Wimbledon, having a good run on grass, get that serving gear.
It's so hard when I'm sort of talking about, he can compete with Sinner and Alcaraz. But as you said, it's got to be managed and kind of small steps. And I remember kind of reading about Daniil Medvedev, and I think he got a bit too obsessed with the idea of Sinner and Alcaraz. How do I defeat Sinner and Alcaraz? And as a result, his performances kind of fell off. He wasn't really taking care of the day to day and the routine, and he was coming up with these very surprising, what we would say is very surprising results. His Grand Slam record last year wasn't great. So it's definitely kind of makes you think, yeah, one step,
we might be
one
more
step at a time.
focused on it than maybe they are. But I also think, he said he learned a lot, and I really like the way he was talking about things, learning about himself, getting perspective, time away from the game. And, it's almost the opposite of kind of what Holger Rune is doing, which feels like he's gone even more obsessed with the comeback and the game. And it probably will be a case that, it's not necessarily the healthiest way of doing it. I think everyone normally gets more perspective with an injury. And of course, it's frustrating. And Jack did say he didn't watch the Australian Open because he does find it too hard to watch because he really wants to be there playing. But I do think it's about kind of balancing things and realizing you can't go back to 100%, immediately, with a bruised bone injury. This is not gonna happen in that way. So definitely positive signs. And don't read too much into the Rotterdam withdrawal because it is all about building up. And if you had great practice, with the guys, with the team, great practice sets with Cam, I mean, he probably is on the way back.
Yeah, good stuff. And obviously Britain through, they will face Ecuador in the second round of the Davis Cup qualifiers in September. That is in Britain, not Ecuador. So,
Sorry, Ecuador. We've kind of glazed over that, Kim. How did that one happen?
Well, Ecuador beat Australia 3-1, but an Australian team that was somewhat diminished. No Alex de Minaur. So, yeah, bit of a still maybe a surprise win.
Maybe Leighton Hewitt, the captain, should have taken a racket and gone on and tried to get it done for his team.
Not a bad shout.
Or his son as well, maybe. But it does mean we are going to have also either India or Korea in the Davis Cup Final 8 come November, because they've both got through and they're playing each other in the qualies in September. So that'll be an interesting nation to have in November in the finals, but that's a long way off. So Davis Cup, long way to go. But Britain's still there.
Big upsets. I was going to say the India result. That was incredible. I just didn't see this one coming. I know we talked about it just before we started recording. Was Nagal the hero of the team? It was actually Dakshi Neswar who was able to do something really, really special with this one. His nickname is DK. He's ranked in 400 and something. And he was able to get the win by winning 3 matches for them. So, incredible scenes. And you just think, this is what Davis Cup's all about. And it just made me think, imagine if a player like that got the funding and support of a wider team, what he could do. It just makes you realize how much talent there is out there. And Davis Cup sometimes is the only platform for it.
Makes me wonder, there needs to be more tennis in India. It's such a massive nation. And I know there's a few events here and there, but I definitely think there's been a lot of focus on the Middle East, a lot of focus on China. But I think India is a big sleeping giant. They've got great pedigree, and who knows if they can get to the final 8, that could again, I think, help their cause in putting tennis on the map in such a huge nation. There's so many, so many people. I think that would be a great location.
Well, elsewhere, we have tournaments from last week that didn't happen in India, but elsewhere we had the Transylvania Open in Cluj. This was quite a sort of Romanian final, wasn't it? Because we had Sorana Castella up against Emma Raducanu, who's obviously half Romanian. Her father's Romanian. And, great for Emma that she got to her first final since reaching that US Open final in 2021. Crazy to think it's taken that long to get her back into a tour level final.
Took me by surprise, that stat, actually. It's been so long, 2021 to 2026, 5 years.
And her only title still remains the US Open, because she was kind of thrashed in the final by Castella, who is in her final season. She's age 35. This is kind of her twilight of her career. But 6-love, 6-2, quite a comprehensive defeat. What did you make of that? What was the kind of rationale behind that? Was it Emma just not being at the races, or Castella just kind of playing too good a game for her? Chris?
Well, Castella is definitely a very good player. I think we saw that against Osaka. She still is very much in form. Do not count her out just because she's in the last year of her career. And if anything, I'd say it's giving a bit of a Danielle Collins finish. I feel like when you have... Well, now Danielle Collins is still playing, technically not retired. But when she announced that she was leaving the sport, it felt like she just left everything on the table. And then she ended up winning her home tournament in Miami, Obviously, Cluj is not Miami. It's a much smaller tournament, but it is still a home tournament. It might be our Miami, though, Joel, I feel like, in terms of we'd put it at 1,000 level of icon status.
It's nice. I mean, Simona Halep was there in the crowd as well, watching on.
Any capes this year? I'm not sure I saw any, but
no.
I mean, Romanian presence was high, wasn't it?
It was, but I mean, I think from Raducanu's point of view, I think there's a great journey to get to the final. I think she was so knackered from her semi-final that she didn't have a lot of energy left to give in the final match, and sadly, I think again it's a similar conversation on her physical game on a tennis court when it gets to playing consecutive days at the business end of a tournament after a tough week. Is she able to go the distance? And I think you have to look at the final. She wasn't able to put the performance in, I think, that she wanted. And I think her body did kind of let her down. So yeah, it's to me, it's bittersweet. Great result getting to a final. Hasn't happened in a long time. Has done it coachless as well, which again, I wasn't necessarily expecting. Living up to her top seed billing also. But I think there are still questions that remain on how physically fit she is on the court. And, stringing together consecutive match victories, consecutive match victories on consecutive days, I still think it's a challenge for her.
Right back up the rankings, though, we have to say, I think we do always have this slight, not negativity around the Raducanu situation. I think it's when you do something that's so big, the expectation is comparing yourself to your former results. The fact that this is such a smaller final, I think we've got to remember she's back in the top 25 now and she's moving up. She's having a good start to the season. Again, physically, the issues, I think a lot of people would have it. It was a really physical semi-final. I mean, it was really tough points. Her opponent really pushed her in that one. And Christea, I mean, she's been bagling players the kind of throughout the week. So she could be red hot and inspired at home. And you never know really what the story is. But I think it's nice for her to show everybody, that after the fact that she wants to relook at how she does her game, she's taken the reins, she's made some decisions and she's getting some results. So you've got to be optimistic about that, even though maybe not so optimistic about the result today.
Does she need a big coach? We spoke about after the Australian Open, she parted ways with Francesco Roy. This, getting to a final, trying to put two and two together here, or is it just coincidence? Do you think?
Or is it the team from home? She might like that, the setup, training at home and bringing them with her.
I think she said she wanted to just play how she played when she first kind of came onto the tour, and maybe that's what she's been able to do this week. But long term, you kind of want that structure and stability rather than going to and from different people and different perspectives, but that just doesn't seem to be sticking, does it? Anyone that she works with. So maybe she should just try, in the interim, not immediately searching for someone and just trying to get that, part-time advice, so to speak. But I think, like you said, Joel, it's the body letting her down a lot of the time. And she said she also had a bit of a chest infection. So she just didn't have the level for the final. And she's actually retired from Doha already as well, her next tournament. 2-love down in the third set to Serrano. So clearly something going on. So we'll hopefully see her back soon on a court and feeling more herself. But we did have some British success in Ostrava, as we mentioned earlier. Katie Boulter playing out there. She won the tournament, beating Tamara Korpach in 3 sets in the final, quite comprehensively as the match went on. She came from a set down to then win 2-1 in those final 2 sets. So that pushes Boulter back into the top 100. She'll be sort of mid-80s now, which is great because she's been sort of kind of down in the doldrums a bit. And we know she's obviously capable of doing a lot better. Previous high ranking of 23. So this was a really winnable match against an opponent who was essentially at the same ranking, but someone who's not been up at the heights that Katie Boulter has reached. So yeah, positive start to the year, I suppose, almost for Boulter coming back to Europe after the Australian swing. What do you think she'll be hoping to kind of go on and do next with the win behind her now, Chris?
Well, I mean, she is a player who can win titles, and I think that's something you can't take away from her, irrespective of where her form is, where her ranking is. Not many British women have won more titles than Katie Boulter has on the WTA Tour in recent years, and I think people might be a bit surprised by the fact that she is picking up. I think she's won multiple times on the grass. She's defended titles before. She also won out in the States, so she is kind of picking up trophies, and I think what she needed was a lift, and this is exactly what she's done here. It doesn't necessarily matter how you do it. I think it's the fact that putting the wins together consecutively, that's probably the biggest thing for her, and then the icing on the cake is the trophy. I think moving on from this, she knows her ranking shouldn't be at 86. It shouldn't be anywhere near that. It should be way higher. She's a big hitter with a big game, and I think last year she must have had like physical injuries and difficulties that caused her not to be able to play the sort of game that she's able to. So it's just nice seeing her happy, and I think it was really nice in the final where Korpatch said actually that one time she was in the locker room and she was really down after kind of an injury and a match, and Katie came over and cheered her up. And I think Katie is just such a nice player who's well liked. So seeing her do well, I think a lot of people will be very pleased to see this, because it's not fun seeing someone who has got a lot of talent, down in the lower ends of the rankings.
I feel like she's kind of yo-yoed a bit over the years, and it's weird to kind of talk about her. She's the British number 4.
Sorry, what? Name the 3 above. Who would it be? Raducanu, Cartel,
Fran Jones.
Fran Jones.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it just shows. I think we just know that we know the talent of Boulter is above where her ranking is. So it's great to see her on that upwards trajectory. I think one of her goals this season should be reclaiming the British number 1 spot
over Raducanu.
I think
I'd love to see that.
I think so.
Proper battle
because you've
between
got
the two of them.
Draper for British number 1 on the men's. I've got Norrie, so I'm going to go Raducanu and take you on both fronts.
Okay.
Ooh, well, let's see.
You've gone Pennington Jones, have you, Kim?
Pennington Jones and I don't know.
Fran Jones,
Freya
the
Christie.
Joneses, both Joneses. Yeah.
Right. Abu Dhabi also took place. This was a 500 out in the Middle East. And we had a bit of a surprising champion. Young Czech player, Sara Bejlek. She won the event, beating Alexandrova in the final in straight sets. Bejlek, she's kind of, come onto the scene. She was, I think, at a career high of 75 in the world last year, but certainly not really on many people's radar. She's now up into the top 50, biggest win of her career with this run. Obviously beating Alexandrova, top 20 player, also beat Ostapenko en route to this title, and Clara Tauson. So a whole host of well-known names defeated en route to this title. But did this kind of come out the blue, or were you expecting a Sara Bejlek 500 win at all? Chris, I know you've been following her career a little bit, so I'm going to come to you first.
Well, I was saying Joel definitely wasn't, because he was paying attention to Ayala Somnes round 1.
Yeah.
That's the match that took his attention.
I was excited, and then I was following Sonnet Cartel, because Sonnet Cartel was getting to the quarterfinals. I mean, that top half really did open up, but
missing some seeds though, weren't we?
Yes,
I think that's one thing we should not take anything away. It's a 500 title, but we were lacking a little bit of star power. We did have the defending champion pull out. A few other names also pulled out who had deep runs previously at the Australian Open, because it does just fall that bit too soon for a lot of players who might want to kind of hop over, to the Middle Eastern swing. But it's the perfect opportunity for a young player to make the most of it. And previously, she's only really had sort of big success at the 125 level. She won a couple of titles in the second half of last year. And she's had a few results that kind of, nod to the fact she has a lot of promise, but this was really like a level above what we have seen from her previously. I mean, she's a very talented player, very good at the juniors. She's done well on like all surfaces, very good on clay, but definitely not something you'd expect this to happen. It really was a shock. And I think it just shows you that there is so much depth, in women's tennis, the fact that this can happen, and the fact that we do get these sort of winners that come out of nowhere. So always more interested to see what happens next sometimes than the actual result, because hopefully she'll become a staple on the tour. But I mean, I haven't heard much from her before.
And I think also what amazes me is she's only 5'2". She's not the tallest player on the tour. So again, it just shows different types, different bodies can thrive on the tour. You don't have to be 6 foot plus booming down aces, to kind of thrive on the WTA tour. There's lots of different ways you can play. So I was very impressed by that. I mean, she beat Kruger in the first round. Kruger actually defeated her at the Australian Open. So great reversal there. And yeah, just carrying that through. I mean, Ostapenko as well. Great result. Clara Tauson in the semi-finals. Definitely one to watch, I think, for the season. I mean, I feel like we can just say that about any Czech up and comer on the WTA tour. There's just so many of them.
Just pray she doesn't have the injury curse like so many of the great Czechs recently, like Vondrousova, Kuchikova, and Mukova. Stay healthy is all we can hope for her.
To be an outside dark horse if she's good on the grass at Wimbledon, as most Czechs tend to be, but that's a long way off.
An early bold prediction, Kim.
I mean, last tournament, I think, of the week was the Montpellier event in France, and this was won by FAA, getting his 9th tour title and his 8th on an indoor hard court. So he is very much like the king of those events, I think. But he beat Adrian Mannarino in the final in straight set. So the home favourite, not
Mannarino, my man Mannarino.
You love
the
him.
Quest for French number one is back on.
It's still on, yeah. I mean,
we haven't got an update on that, have we?
Help.
I mean, he must be close, but there's a lot of French talent. I think I can update you. He's into the top 50. There's I can see about 7 French players ranked ahead of him at the moment, Joel. So,
it's not easy to be the French number one. They've got such depth. But yeah, FAA getting the job done. I mean, he's actually got the most titles of any Canadian player in the Open era. He's gone ahead of Milos Raonic with 9 titles now. Does that surprise you? He's still quite young. He's plenty of time for him to get more. I remember it was a long time before he got his first title. He lost in so many finals. So in theory, he should have a lot more, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he could have, right? He was so good and so bad at closing those matches and kind of bringing out his best in finals. And, maturity, he's come through so well, lots of tie breaks. He played so well this week. And you just think you put him in a 250 on an indoor hardcore and you just hand him the trophy as long as Jannik Sinner's not in the draw, pretty much. So job done. If he hadn't have won it, we would have been asking a few questions probably because, this is the sort of draw where a top player like him plays it because, he has won it before. I think he was the defending champion here. And you play it because, you want to win it again. And if you don't, it's not necessarily a big tick for you that week. But some stiff competition on the way against some big names. Stan had a good result against him. That was a very competitive match. And we did have Arthur Fils was back, which is great to see. So it wasn't necessarily what you think of a 250 draw. It was actually some tricky matches along the way.
Yeah. I mean, he was playing some real fan favourites against Wawrinka and then Fils. So coming through that is great. And I would also just add, remember the last time we saw Felix Auger-Aliassime on a tennis court, Australian Open, he was cramping. He went out in round 1. We thought, he was going to be a potential contender in Melbourne. So I think, this is the perfect response, really. Had a little bit of a false start, I think, first Grand Slam of the year. But certainly back on track in Montpellier.
I'd completely forgotten about that. I think a lot of people were talking at the start of the year, will he be the person who steps up to number 3? I think at the end of the year, he was playing the 3rd best tennis on the tour. Do you think he could potentially fill that void that you talked about, Jack Draper? Maybe we miss him in.
He's back up to 6 now. I'd love to see him up there. I really would. He's more exciting for me than some of the others in that cohort. And he's just such a nice chap as well, which always helps. So I don't know, if a Grand Slam was played on an indoor hard court, like definitively.
That's something he would be petitioning for, isn't it? I think, he just does so well. I mean, it is great to see. I think he has really reversed his record in finals. Kim, you spoke about how terrible it was, at the beginning of his career. He really should have, usurped Raonic with that record much earlier on, I think, in his career. Great, he's got it now. But I think he's developed a much better approach and mentality when it comes to those final matches that wasn't there earlier on in his career.
And spare a thought for Perricard, because he was up against Arthur Heyer, who, we got to know at the Australian Open, young French player. Perricard had to retire after a set because he was basically hit in his eye with a ball, and it just was.
It came off his racket.
He hit himself in the eye. Yeah,
it's
right
just
in the socket. Yeah.
a real sort of freak injury, and yeah, he decided that it was best for him to.
And I was reading
to not
today,
carry
Kim,
on.
he's now split with his coach. So when it rains, it pours for
Gosh.
tarot card.
You can't really blame your coach for the fact you hit yourself in the eye. I think that's even Emma Raducanu hasn't done that one yet. But
No,
I mean that is a shame.
Well,
He does need a bit of luck, clearly.
I
Yes.
am excited by a player who did qualify, another French player. I hope I'm saying this correctly. I was watching some of his highlights in the qualifying. 16-year-old Moise Kouame. He qualified for the main draw in Montpellier. He looked very, very good. Still very, very raw. But I mean, if you're making a main draw on the ATP tour at 16 years old, you're doing something right. So, yeah, I think he's definitely going to be one to watch as well.
Well, let's take a quick break now, but do join us in the second half where we'll be discussing Holger Rune's comments on Serena Williams' weight loss ad that aired during the Super Bowl yesterday, doubles ranking points as our mailbag returns, and we'll be looking forward to the first WTA 1000 event of the season where Iga Swiatek and Australian Open champion Elena Rybakina are the top seeds. So do not go anywhere. Welcome back to the Tennis Weekly podcast, and it's time to kick off with our first game of 2026. We weren't doing these obviously during the slam, so we are back to this.
I think it's the second game actually, Kim.
Second game, yeah, we would have done one.
Yeah, because we did one at the first
start of the year.
Yeah, I got maybe I got my maths a little wrong there, but I do have a par for the course for both of you. I know you've been missing this during our Australian Open daily
Probably my
coverage.
favourite thing about the Australian Open is no quizzes.
No, I love the quiz segment, so I'm kind of glad we're doing one. But Joel, tell us, what have you got for us?
Well, this is going to be a head-to-head par for the courts, and this is actually courtesy of Reddit. I thought this was a very good...
Have you fact-checked this?
I have
Last
fact-checked
time you
this.
went from Reddit,
I'm looking
Joel.
at the fact... I've fact-checked this. I've verified it. I've blue-ticked it. Yes. My subject for you and our listeners is... So the last time Carlos Alcaraz was outside the top 3 in the rankings was in 2022... And it was in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, 29th of August, 2022. I would like you to name me the 9 other players who were in that top 10.
Ooh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So the
I assume
last
this was
time...
just before he got a big win.
So the last
he won
time...
the US Open
did,
that year,
yeah.
didn't he? Yeah.
Yep. So the last time Carlos Alcaraz was outside the top 3 in the rankings, end of August 2022. Who else would have been in the top 10 at that point is my question to you and our listeners.
That is a tough one.
Okay, nice one. Okay, who's going first? Chris, do you want to go or shall I?
You go, Kim.
Okay. Oh, right.
Chris, I'm sensing Chris is already a little nervous.
I'm honestly trying to cast my mind back because you said Emma Raducanu was 2021. I'm like, what happened in between?
This is like about 3.5 years ago. Okay. Well, Novak Djokovic, I assume, would have been in the top 10.
Novak Djokovic is a correct answer. Very good. He was ranked 6th in the top 10. So, yes, Djokovic is on the list.
Kim, have you not said Nadal and you've said Djokovic first?
Yes, I immediately thought of Rafa, but I thought Novak would be a safer bet.
He won 2 slams that year.
No, I know.
Kim.
But then I didn't know how quickly he went down the rankings after that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it would
Not that
take a year
quickly.
for the points to drop off, Kim. So I'm going to take Rafa from you.
Rafael Nadal is a correct answer. He was
Okay.
3. He was ranked 3, just above his fellow Spaniard, Carlos Alcaraz. So that is a correct answer. That is 1 apiece. Kim, it is back to you.
Well, I'm going to go with the player that Alcaraz beat in the US Open final, which I think was Casper Ruud.
Casper Ruud is a correct answer. Very good. Ranked number 7, just below Novak Djokovic. So that is 2-1 to Kim. Chris, it's back to you.
Because I remember when there was that, if Casper had won a match, he would have become the world number 1 or something. It was very close to being world number 1 that year. I think Tsitsipas was right up there at the time. He's always been in the top 10 at that point, I think.
Stefanos Tsitsipas is a correct answer. He was right in the middle, ranked number 5.
Oh, gosh.
How many
time ago now?
Yeah, I know, long time. When's that going to happen again? So right, that is 2 apiece. Kim, it's back to you.
We've got 5 then.
Yeah.
There are 5. There are
left.
5
I mean-
left. Yes.
This person must have been the world number 1. If Djokovic was down at 6, it must have been Daniil Medvedev at that time.
Kim, that is bang on. He was number 1 in the rankings.
Sorry, how did you know that, Kim? That's impressive.
Well, if it's not Djokovic, it's not Rafa then, and it's
it must
too
be
soon for
Medvedev.
Alcaraz then.
Actually,
Kim, that
true.
is-
Process of elimination.
That is absolutely spot on. So yes,
Can I
point
wave
to
the
you.
white flag and let Kim have the win for that one?
Yeah, we normally get that sort of answer after Kim is out of the game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said a strange Russian. Well, he is Russian, but
Well, yeah,
I thought
no,
sort
you never
of
win
an
with a Russian.
incorrect Russian.
So
there.
Oh,
that's
that's giving me a
3-2 to Kim, and there are 4 players left.
What about another Russian? What about Rublev?
Oh yes, yeah.
Andrei Rublev. It's a wrong answer. Kim
Oh!
wins.
Oh
Yes.
Kim
no!
has got
Sorry,
3
Chris.
correct
Oh no!
answers.
What was he ranked?
I
You don't know.
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know. I can just tell you.
Not in the
We'll
top.
say
I
he was at
can tell
11.
you he is not in the top 10.
Who else was? Tell us.
I've got some more. Zverev must be there.
I didn't have
Oh no,
him.
was he injured from
Was that injury?
Roland
Yeah.
Garros? So would he have got dropped out?
Zverev was number 2. You could have
Oh,
given me
goodness.
Zverev as well. There
Had
are
Dominic Thiem retired by then?
3 names left. Dominic Thiem not
He
there.
wouldn't be there. Fritz.
Hatchinov?
No. These are tough names. They were ranked 10th, 9th,
Norrie.
and 8th.
Would Norrie
Very
be there?
good. Cam Norrie is there.
Was Jannik Sinner?
Um,
Not yet.
No Jannik Sinner.
and was there another
player-
Spaniard?
A player we have already mentioned on this podcast.
Felix.
Felix
wow.
Auger-Aliassime
God,
was ranked 8th.
Berrettini.
And the final name.
No.
Is it Holger?
Nope.
Tell us, Joel. Oh, nationality.
Oh, I'm not giving you nationality. Too easy.
Oh, Shapovalov?
European.
One player nation. Poland. Hurkacz.
Hurkacz.
It's Hubert
yes.
Hurkacz. There you go.
Oh,
So Medvedev, Zverev, Nadal, Alcaraz, Tsitsipas, Djokovic, Ruud, Auger-Aliassime, Norrie, and Hubert Hurkacz.
Goodness, blast from the past. Well
you go.
done, Kim.
Kim.
yeah. First win of a long time. Yeah.
Well, it might have been, you
Right.
might have won the first one of the year. None of us can remember.
Well, I'm going to dip into our mailbag now because we had this come in during the Australian Open from Peter Slack on email. So thanks, Peter, for getting in touch. Peter is asking us about doubles, sort of seedings. He has said I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to tennis, and I was just reading that Neil Skupski and new American partner Christian Harrison are through to the final of the men's doubles at the Australian Open, which he said was flipping great. So yes, and they went on to win, which is fantastic. Skupski and Harrison are seeded 6th, which got me thinking how are doubles seedings calculated, as this is a pairing that have never played together before. So any help in demystifying this would be appreciated. Keep up the great work. So yeah, thank you, Peter, for getting in touch. I agree. I think this is a bit of a confusing area because what do you do when you've got a new pairing? How can you judge and rate them? Who wants to answer this one and clarify this? Because I imagine some of our listeners may also be wondering what Peter is wondering. Chris, normally you're throwing out the rule book, so
I mean,
or is Joel?
I can happily say.
No, Chris, you go
I
for it.
believe.
Because I was literally going through the same process each round. They were winning.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit like, when you have like the Olympics or something like that, when you look at the teams, it's based on your ranking as an individual. So the doubles rankings happen in different ways. There's the live ranking for the race, and that is done by your pairs. So you qualify as pairs. So that's when you're attached. But for your regular ranking, you aren't attached. It's your individual rankings are combined. And then when you add those up, with the lowest number, you are therefore the number 1 seed. And then it goes all the way up to the 32nd seed, or however big the draw might be, dependent on where you're playing. So it is very much the nature of your individual performance. And so it doesn't matter who you've been playing with before that. So That's what I would say, and that's why you see these pairs that are scratch pairings that get in and then do something special. They're not always seeded, but that's kind of broadly the reason why these things happen.
Right. So it's not looking at their individual performance. Well, it is looking at how good are they individually.
It's not their singles ranking,
but it's not.
Yes, the doubles ranking is what applies. Yes, indeed.
I guess so. They can swap partners without, more easily without having to think, oh, we've got to establish our own individual doubles pairing ranking. It means they can chop and change because it's just based on their own individual ranking. Seedings.
And I mean, it's very interesting with the Williams sisters, for example, in the past when they've only played one tournament a year and then they win Wimbledon without a ranking or a seeding, and that has happened before. But yeah, I mean, it is completely different in how they did it, and there was a bit of an interest where they tried to get more singles players playing in the doubles at some of the lower ranked tournaments where your singles ranking could count. They did explore that, but it didn't necessarily take off in the way that they were looking for it to. But yes, in answer to the question, they were seeded sixth based on their rankings with their previous partners that they had been playing with, because some partners and some partnerships don't play together every week because you might be playing singles as well, and then you might not be in the same tournament. So that happened a lot for Storm Hunter and Siniakova, for example. One of them could enter bigger draws. So it does mean that you don't discount those points that you earned from playing doubles in the 12 months before. Hopefully that makes it clear. Essentially, it's your combination of your ranking that is added up, not your team partnership.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Peter. I hope that's got things clear for you. And listeners, do send us more mailbag questions in because we love to hear all your questions. And we've got a second one actually that came in from Dan on Instagram.
2, Kim. Goodness.
We've got 2 this week, I know, but it's very topical, this one, because of the Winter Olympics having kicked off a few days ago. Dan wants to know, what tennis players do we think would be good at different sports at the Winter Olympics? So, would so-and-so be good at, slalom, skiing, or the luge, or whoever? Is there anyone that springs to mind? Obviously, Sinner's busy checking train tickets. I don't know if he'd get... I mean,
surely Jannik Sinner will be... Yeah.
He's busy checking tickets.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Okay.
So who else could get involved?
Well, I mean, as long as Raducanu's not on skis, I'm not sure I could handle the injuries that could come from that.
No.
Seeing what happened to Lindsey Vonn, please stay safe. So maybe I'd put her in curling for Raducanu, I was thinking.
Oh, that's always quite a crowd pleaser, curling, I think.
I've done curling. I did not realise how
You've
heavy.
Done curling?
Yeah, the stones are so heavy. So I would maybe give Sabalenka. I think
Sabalenka's going. I was going to put her in ice hockey. Sabalenka
curling. Okay.
Yeah, she'd be quite ferocious, I think. At that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with the tiger at ice hockey. Yeah. Wait, Joel, can you please tell our listeners, why were you curling?
I just think because the curling.
No, why
blocks.
did you end up curling? I meant no. How did you end up doing it? Yes.
I can't remember.
Was it with
I think I was on a ski trip when I was early in my kind of teenage years, and at the chalet there was sort of stones in curling by the side of it on a little ice.
Could have been curling weekly.
Very
tennis weekly.
If you'd got into that instead.
I would also add. I think
curling every 4 years.
I would put Carlos Alcaraz in biathlon. Just cross-country skiing events that I look at and think you need to have incredible stamina and endurance and concentration to do these sorts of events, like on skis going uphill, downhill, around a course. So I think Carlos Alcaraz would be very good at that.
Djokovic liked the ice skating, the ice dancing.
He
was very impressed.
He watched that guy do a flip.
Doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that American, we haven't quite got his name down, but... fantastic backflip. I did learn that if you do a backflip, you don't earn points from it necessarily, but it is more for show. I believe that's true. Again, please do correct us.
Okay.
We'll get a mailbag next week about the Winter Olympics.
Djokovic would be good at ice skating, though. I feel like the balance,
so graceful,
and
flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility.
Does his yoga. I feel stretching. I also thought Medvedev could be a speed skater because he does look quite awkward sometimes, and it's a bit funny watching them, go so quickly in their suits whilst also kind of shuffling on the ice.
Yeah.
Andrei Rublev's got to be in snow, big trick snowboarding. I think he would just fit right in with. I just think he would just fit. He'd just be a natural. I think people wouldn't question it if you put him on a snowboard with his like long.
If you
long
had,
hair.
here's a good question, Kim, for you: the Hopman Cup of the Winter Olympics. It's going to be the mixed curling. Which team do you think, both from the same country, would do the best at the curling? United Cup of Curling, we could call it as well.
Are the Americans good at curling? I feel like maybe Poland would also be good at curling. I mean,
they'd win at both.
They could win at both. I think they would work well together on the ice.
Who'd be with the broom, do you think, out of that pairing? Hurkacz or Swiatek?
Does it suit a taller person? Hurkacz is very tall. Would he have more oomph behind the broom? I don't know.
Honestly.
Maybe, I don't think the Australians, it doesn't seem like their sort of vibe. Maybe bring Andy Murray out of retirement. It's quite big in Scotland, isn't it?
Oh, he'd be good at curling. I can see that one.
Andy and Jamie as a
Andy and Judy. I'd like
curling.
that. Yeah, very nice.
But I look forward to watching more of the Winter Olympics. I don't even know all of the different sports that they have. Like, I don't know the difference between the luge and the skeleton. So I need to do some research. But apart from Djokovic watching ice skating at the Winter Olympics, we also had another big sporting event happen, which was the Super Bowl last night, I think. Someone called Bad Bunny did the halftime show.
Kim,
I don't know who they
not
are.
know about Bad Bunny?
Somebody.
Who won the Super Bowl? I don't
Seahawks.
know. The Seahawks.
Lady Gaga, she was there.
But Bad Bunny also won, I think.
Right.
Jessica Alba was there too. Kim, have you heard of her?
Oh, I have heard of her, but but Serena Williams, the reason we're talking about this is because there was a weight loss ad, and Serena Williams is promoting the weight loss drug. It's called Roe, and it's caused a bit of controversy. Disclaimer, her husband is a significant investor in this company. So obviously he's got Serena involved in promoting it, but she has been taking it herself, hasn't she? She has used these drugs to, I guess, to lose weight. And it's a bit of a furore, some social media, criticism of it. But Holger Rune has actually weighed in to kind of defend Serena Williams and saying it's good that she's being open about the fact that she's used these drugs. And, obviously they are vital for a lot of people with sort of obesity and other health risks that come with that. So, yeah, a bit of an interesting, I guess, debate about whether it's appropriate for her to be promoting this, given her husband's stake in the firm, etc. So, yeah, we're kind of all talking about this rather than Bad Bunny's performance, maybe. But what are your thoughts on?
Well, you're definitely not talking about Bad Bunny's performance. No, you don't know what a Bad Bunny is, Kim.
No, I
know the Easter Bunny, and that's about it.
I'm going to have to Google Spotify Bad Bunny.
You like a bit of Spanish music as well. I think you'd like it. But Kim,
are they Spanish?
But
Latino.
Yeah. What would Bad Bunny be in Spanish, Kim, if you had to translate it?
Oh God, Conejo is rabbit. I think I'm not sure about bunny.
The bad Conejo.
I don't know.
Oh, we've forgotten what the question was, haven't we? So,
yeah, Serena Williams, weight loss drug.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Well, I mean, she has been promoting it for a little while, so I was kind of expecting, a big ad spot like this. It makes sense, and if she's been using it and she is actually talking about her personal experience, I do think that's a positive, that she's not trying to missell something in that way, but she does have access to a lot of other things. There's a lot of research that hasn't been done. A lot of other things will be supporting her weight loss and making sure that it's sustainable for her and she stays healthy. So I think it might not be right for everyone. When I first saw this, I did think, oh God, the world's coming to an end. The world's greatest female athlete is, sort of plugging, weight loss medication for $1, which feels a little bit off. It doesn't feel great when you think about it, but I've tried to think about it over time. And, in the community that she has such a big influence over, for example, with African Americans, there's much more likelihood that someone will be obese in that demographic, unfortunately, 28% more likely. So I think before we do come down too hard, the influence that she has, it doesn't mean that she's necessarily trying to sell something to people who are uninformed. It actually could, as Holger says, it could actually have health benefits for other people. Sure, she's making money from it, and I don't love it from the optics of a strong, powerful woman who doesn't have to look a certain way to be successful. I don't love the fact that she not has to do it, that she's choosing to do it. But at the same time, it could actually have a net positive impact given the influence she has.
Yeah, and I thought it was nice that Holger Rune kind of came out and defended.
He's got some free time to do some tweeting.
Yeah, I thought, this is quite diplomatic and, thoughtful of him. So yeah, it's good that he was sort of essentially putting that out there.
Oh, John.
I just feel like, now correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe a lot of listeners will hate what I'm going to say here, but I just wonder if we do get to see Serena Williams back on a tennis court, I'm almost wondering, it's like if this is going to be if this is just one big ad, and
that's very cynical.
And
but
the
ultimate,
ultimate proof is it helped Serena Williams get back to a tennis court and play professional level.
But she is coming back,
again.
you think, and this is not, the comeback isn't fake. And it's not just to get headlines around.
Is this part of the story? Like, I don't know. Is this part of the story?
If she was to win something in her speech, is she going to mention this drug? I mean, that would be quite controversial, wouldn't it, if it went as far as that?
Well, if you do think about it, and again, she was obviously a top athlete at the time she retired, irrespective of what people talk about, with her body or her health at that point, she is looking fitter than ever. You do have to say that from the pictures that they showed, she still looks strong. And so it does make you think that maybe this is what she's planning on doing. This is the drug that made her think she could have the comeback. There is also that question mark that could exist. And, she talked about her ankle and kind of maybe if this has allowed her to maybe lose a little bit of weight, it might put less strain on some of those joints. They talked about that with Rafa and Muscle on his knees. He had to thin out a little bit. So maybe there is more to it then. But I think, she does make a lot of headlines. And if you are teasing a comeback as well as a big product that you also have an interest in, I think you do have to raise a few eyebrows. But I just think, how much money do people need is my big thing here. She doesn't have to go and do this at all. So I'm hoping there's a bigger, more important reason as to why she's doing it, because she's Serena Williams. She's absolutely loaded. Yeah. It doesn't feel like she'd be doing it for a quick buck, you hope.
No. She must genuinely believe in the product. We hope. Yeah. But let's see. Maybe we're being too judgmental too early on and assuming negative motives. But it's an interesting debate. And listeners, we'd love to know your thoughts on this one as well. Very quickly, before we finish up today, we've got our first WTA 1000 event of the season happening this week out in Doha. We've also got Rotterdam, Dallas, and the Buenos Aires Open as well. So lots going on this week. WTA 1000 in Doha, quite a lot of players have actually pulled out. Sabalenka's not there. I think Pegula, Osaka, Madison Keys, young American Iva Jovic not there. And we've also had the defending champion, Amanda Anisimova, retire today, 4-1 down in the third set to Pliskova. So I feel like there's been a bit of a lack of some of the top names. And, we've still got Iga and Raducanu as the top two, but a few names already gone, day one or before. Who are your eyes on here? Are we sort of looking to see if Raducanu can back up her AO title?
Oh, it's an interesting draw, isn't it? I think now it's looking pretty open for Svitolina to build on her impressive AO run. I'm thinking that could be good. I also know that, Iga's got a lot of pedigree in Doha before. She's obviously won here before. But I think this is the perfect place for Coco Gauff to pick up some wins and maybe make it to a final. And I might see a repeat of Svitolina Gauff in the final. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. So
or Vonareva, sorry. Vonareva. I take that back. She plays against Mboko.
Yeah. She qualified Zvonareva, and which is mad. She's 41 years old, and she beat Peyton Stearns, and she's in the main draw. Although Peyton Stearns has a terrible record against players aged 37 and over. She's lost all her matches against players of that age.
Someone said that she's a poor record against geriatric tennis players. I thought that sounds awful. You can't say that.
That's no way to describe Venus Williams.
No, Kim called her a grandma.
And
there's a miscalculation.
Yes.
I did want to say, I did love the fact that Coco Gauff's playing doubles with Victoria Mboko.
Oh, is she?
Which I think is
cool.
That's quite a cool blockbuster.
Maybe Coco's going to
pairing.
play some more doubles, do we think, to get her form back?
Yeah.
Could be a good move.
Yeah, could see that. I do think Coco Gauff has got maybe the biggest question mark going into the tournament. So yeah, I would love to see how she gets on. I'm really excited personally, like Chris, for Alina Svitolina. I think she's in a great part of the draw. It's now opened up because Anisimova is out. So back in the top 10, I think she's going to be feeling confident with what she can do. I'm going to go, Svitolina. I'm going to go Svitolina and Andreeva.
Okay.
I think, and I've spoken about Andreeva before. I think there was certainly more to do after the Australian Open, and I'd love to see Andreeva versus Raducanu, but let's wait and see. That could be in the quarterfinals, but I'm going to say my champion is going to be Svitolina.
I'm going to go a bit rogue and say Linda Noskova is going to win it.
Right. You haven't gone for a Linda in a while, actually.
No, so I'm just putting it out there.
Not Maria Sakkari. Had a good win today against Sonmez.
They can't be convinced. No one's biting. Well, Rotterdam. Okay. Have we got any other interesting predictions?
Rotterdam, top seed Alex de Minaur and FAA. Medvedev is out already. Did he lose already?
He lost to Humbert, yes.
To Humbert, so he's not there anymore.
Humbert's obviously the text he got wasn't too bad. He's back winning again.
I think Alex de Minaur might pick this one up, and maybe that little chap that was in Ostrava might go there and put up the side about ring bearing again.
Not Munar, Kim.
Oh, well, I wish, but got to be.
It's got Alexander Bublik's name written all over it.
Well, no, Munar's going out to Nikolai, the Norwegian. I think that's definitely happening. He's got a wild card. I was going to say, Kim, you could go to this and you could be in the crowd and ask to be the flower girl or a bridesmaid with a sign. See if you get yourself to Tuscany as well.
Free invite to Tuscany. I mean, I imagine the food would be quite good at their wedding. So.
I'm sure it would be, but it's a tough draw, this one, isn't it? With Hurkacz, Bublik. I reckon Felix is going to do the double.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it is an indoor hard court, so that's quite possible. We've also got Dallas, of course, where Jack Pennington-Jones has qualified.
Headlining the draw, yes.
Headline news. But Taylor Fritz is actually the top seed there. Ben Shelton, Tommy Paul, Lernatine, all the usual Americans, of course. Anyone but an American going to win here, do you think?
It's an American win for me.
Yeah.
Manarino's hopped across the pond.
I could even see Fritz Shelton, number 1 seed, number 2 seed final.
Final set tie break. And finally, Buenos Aires, Francisco Cerundolo, top seed there. Darderi, second seed. Sebastian Baez. Fonseca is back, hopefully, from his injury.
Always would love a Brazilian win in Argentina. Always goes down well with the locals, I think.
We need
rowdy.
Baez is going to take this one.
Fonseca Baez final would be fireworks, I think.
Yeah, that would be quite fun. But I think the Argentinians are outnumbering the Brazilians here. So I think an Argentinian player might get it done.
Well, I mean, they should do well here because they actually sacrificed their Davis Cup team in the Korean Republic. They lost over there because everyone was playing the Golden Swing over in Buenos Aires. So they've got to win something for their country so that they're playing for more here.
Joel, this is your favourite time of the season, isn't it? The Golden Swing.
I know. And the stakes are already high in Buenos Aires at a 250. And they're only going to get higher as we continue with the Golden Swing. But we're going to wrap up our tour catch-up here at Tennis Weekly HQ. We hope you've enjoyed the ride with us. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss a moment of action from the ATP and WTA tours. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all your favourite podcasting platforms out there.
And if you love what you're hearing, then be sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube.
And you can stay connected with us on social media. You can see all of the clips that we managed to capture from behind the scenes at the Davis Cup. And that was with myself. And that was also with our digital video editor and content creator, Chris. So we've got lots of stuff there that we can show you, and do check that out. It's on all social channels. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, TikTok, Threads and X, and the handle for all of those is Tennis Weekly Pod. And if you would like to add to the mailbag, we can't promise that we're going to do one every week or two every week at least, but you can contact us, tennisweeklypod@gmail.com, or visit our website, tennisweekly.co.uk.
And we'll be back next Monday for another tour catch up. But until then, it's goodbye from Kim.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Chris.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Tennis Weekly.